Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are bridging the 5,000-year-old wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita with the modern, hard science of thermodynamics. I know, it sounds like a massive leap, right? Ancient Sanskrit texts on one hand and energy transfer on the other. But as we unpack this today, you're going to see some absolutely mind-blowing parallels that will completely reframe how you look at both spirituality and science.
So, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Ancient wisdom meets physics. 2. The 8 elements decoded. 3. Thermodynamics of the soul. 4. Entropy and the mind. And finally, 5. Achieving inner thermal equilibrium. Let's dive in.
Section 1. Ancient wisdom meets physics.
You know, for the longest time, we've treated science and spirituality like they belong in two completely different lanes. But did ancient philosophers actually understand the laws of thermodynamics? It sounds crazy, but the Bhagavad Gita eerily mirrors the fundamental laws of physics. They didn't have modern labs, sure, but their incredibly deep observations of how the universe operates align flawlessly with our modern study of heat, energy, and work.
Now, to really grasp this synthesis, we first need to understand the difference between two concepts, jnana and vijnana. Jnana is basically intellectual head knowledge. It's like knowing the textbook formula for gravity. Vijnana, on the other hand, is the practical, lived experience. It's actually feeling the heavy weight of a stone in your hand. In this explainer, we're taking the textbook physics of thermodynamics and translating it into vijnana, something you can actually feel and experience in your daily life.
Section 2. The 8 elements decoded.
In Chapter 7 of the Gita, we're introduced to the 8 fundamental elements of creation. Now, ancient thinkers obviously didn't use terms like quarks or joules. They used observable nature to explain physics. So we have 5 physical elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Plus, we have 3 subtle internal elements: mind, intellect, and ego.
Here's where it gets really fascinating. When we translate these gross ancient elements into the language of modern physics, it is literally spot on. Earth maps to potential energy. Think of the stored power sitting right now inside your smartphone battery. Water is kinetic energy, the energy of motion, like a massive river rushing through and turning a hydroelectric dam. Fire translates to thermal energy, kind of like the controlled explosions powering a car engine. And air represents gaseous states and expansion, much like industrial steam turbines. I mean, the ancients basically gave us a complete categorization of physical energy.
But what about the rest? Space, or calm in Sanskrit, aligns beautifully with what modern physicists call dark matter. That's the invisible, accommodating force theorized to make up over 80% of our entire universe. Meanwhile, those 3 subtle elements, mind, intellect, and ego, act as the cognitive forces that either organize your internal energy systems or create chaotic entropy within them.
Section 3. Thermodynamics of the soul.
So, if the physical universe obeys these laws, what about the invisible energy that powers us? While the first law of thermodynamics tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it only ever changes form. The Gita says the exact same thing about consciousness. The soul is eternal. You aren't destroyed. Your inner energy simply transitions into different forms, exactly like potential energy turning into kinetic.
To put a hard, scientific measurement on this human energy exchange, consider this. Our bodies generate an average entropy production of 10,000 kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin. We are literally walking, breathing thermodynamic engines. Every single thought you have and every action you take processes energy, and that creates a degree of internal disorder, or entropy, that your body and mind have to constantly manage.
And that brilliantly illustrates the second law of thermodynamics. That law states systems naturally decay into higher entropy or disorder unless energy is actively applied to organize them. The Gita actually views reincarnation through a really similar lens. Life is a cyclical process where the soul accumulates experiences, faces the natural chaos of existence, and literally has to perform work to navigate and organize all that chaos over time.
But here's the thing. This cycle isn't just random punishment or meaningless chaos. It's a highly deliberate journey toward greater complexity. Just like the universe took billions of years to evolve from scattered space dust into complex, highly organized solar systems, your individual consciousness is on a trajectory of growth. You are constantly evolving your own personal energy system.
Section 4. Entropy and the mind.
Now, understanding the grand universe is great and all, but how does this actually apply to you on a stressful Tuesday afternoon? Well, think of your mind like a physical room. If you throw your clothes everywhere and never clean up, the room falls into high entropy. total chaos. The Gita teaches that constantly chasing sensory distractions creates massive internal disorder. But when we apply mindfulness, we're basically performing work on our internal system. We lower our mental entropy and achieve a really calm, low-entropy state of purposeful clarity. And when we lower our personal mental entropy, a truly fascinating thing happens. We begin to recognize the deep interconnectedness of absolutely everything. In thermodynamics, you can't isolate a system entirely from the universe. Everything exchanges energy. Once our minds are clear of all that high-entropy chaos, we experience this scientific truth on a spiritual level. We realize we are fundamentally connected to everyone and everything around us.
The source text beautifully describes this interconnected energy system with this quote: "All things rest upon me, just like jewels strung upon a thread." We might look like completely separate, independent jewels on the outside, but underneath the surface, the exact same thread of energy, the very same fundamental physics runs through all of us, holding the entire structure of reality together.
Section 5. Achieving Inner Thermal Equilibrium.
So bringing this all together, how do we actively achieve what physicists call thermal equilibrium, that perfectly balanced, stable state inside our own minds? Well, it's estimated that a massive 60% of our health outcomes are determined directly by our lifestyle choices. What you eat, how you sleep, how you manage your stress, all of this directly impacts your physiological entropy. You are the sole operator of your own energy state. To actively reduce your personal chaos, the Gita actually prescribes a specific thermodynamic formula. First up, moderation. Don't overeat, but don't starve. Sleep, but don't oversleep. Second, practice daily mindfulness and self-awareness. And finally, do your work with full, intense dedication, but cultivate an internal detachment from the anxiety of the final outcome. That right there is the literal ancient blueprint for keeping your mental engine running efficiently without overheating.
Ultimately, the ancient assertion that all matter is simply a manifestation of divine energy perfectly foreshadows Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. Whether you want to call it divine consciousness like the ancient texts do, or mass energy equivalence like modern physicists do, the core truth is completely identical. Everything you see, touch, and experience is, fundamentally, just energy.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, profound thought to ponder regarding the ongoing thermodynamic journey of your own life. If the core of who you are is energy, and the fundamental laws of physics guarantee that energy is eternal, what form will your energy take next? Keep learning, keep balancing your equation, and keep evolving.